Sex is a normal part of life, but for some people, thoughts about sex become overwhelming. This is called sex addiction or compulsive sexual behavior. They spend hours thinking about sex, looking at pornography, or engaging in sexual activities. This preoccupation with sex can start to affect their daily lives. They might neglect their work, school, or relationships. They may withdraw from friends and family. For example, imagine a young man named John. John spends most of his free time watching pornography and masturbating. He starts to skip classes and miss work deadlines. His relationships with his friends and family suffer because he is distant and withdrawn. This is just one example of how preoccupation with sex can impact a person's life. It's important to remember that sex addiction is a real condition that requires professional help. People struggling with compulsive sexual behavior often find themselves needing more intense experiences to satisfy their urges. What was once pleasurable may become mundane. They might seek out riskier sexual encounters or engage in more extreme forms of pornography. This escalation can be driven by a desire to escape negative emotions or numb emotional pain. The temporary high they experience from these behaviors becomes a way to cope with stress, anxiety, or depression. For instance, a woman named Sarah might initially engage in casual sex to feel good. Over time, she seeks out more partners and riskier encounters to achieve the same level of excitement. This pattern can lead to dangerous situations and serious consequences. It's crucial to understand that this escalation is a common symptom of sex addiction. Recognizing this pattern is an important step towards seeking help and breaking free from the cycle. One of the hallmarks of compulsive sexual behavior is the inability to control urges, even when they have negative consequences. Individuals may make repeated attempts to stop or reduce their sexual activities but find themselves constantly relapsing. This cycle of attempts and failures can lead to feelings of shame, guilt, and hopelessness. They may feel trapped in their addiction and believe they are powerless to change. Consider Mark, who promises himself he will stop watching pornography. He deletes his browser history and avoids triggers. However, the urge becomes overwhelming and he relapses. This cycle repeats, leaving him feeling defeated and ashamed. This struggle to control their behavior is a key indicator of sex addiction. It's essential to remember that recovery is possible with professional help and support. Section 4. Neglecting responsibilities and relationships. When someone is struggling with compulsive sexual behavior, their addiction often takes center stage in their lives. This can lead to neglecting important responsibilities and relationships. They may prioritize their sexual urges over work, school, family, and friends. This neglect can have devastating consequences on their personal and professional lives. They may lose jobs, damage relationships, or experience financial difficulties. Imagine a husband and father named David. He becomes consumed by his addiction to pornography and online sexual encounters. He spends hours online, neglecting his wife and children. His wife feels ignored and emotionally abandoned, and his children feel his absence. This example illustrates how compulsive sexual behavior can damage even the most important relationships in a person's life. Seeking help is crucial to repair the damage and rebuild trust. Section 5. Risky sexual behaviors and their consequences. Compulsive sexual behavior can often lead to engaging in risky sexual practices. This might include having unprotected sex with multiple partners, soliciting prostitutes, or engaging in illegal sexual activities. These behaviors put individuals at risk for sexually transmitted infections, unwanted pregnancies, and legal consequences. They may also experience emotional and psychological harm from these encounters. For example, a young woman named Jessica, struggling with her addiction, engages in unprotected sex with multiple partners. She contracts a sexually transmitted infection and experiences significant emotional distress and regret. This situation highlights the potential consequences of risky sexual behaviors. It's crucial to understand that these risks are not limited to physical health, but can have long-lasting impacts on emotional well-being and overall life stability. Section 6. Emotional distress and seeking help. Living with compulsive sexual behavior can be incredibly isolating and emotionally draining. Individuals often experience intense feelings of shame, guilt, anxiety, and depression. They may feel trapped in a cycle of addiction and despair. Recognizing the problem and seeking help is the first step towards recovery. A qualified therapist can provide support, guidance, and evidence-based treatments to address the underlying causes of the addiction. Finding a therapist experienced in treating sex addiction is crucial. Look for licensed professionals with specific training in this area. Avoid therapists who shame or judge you for your behaviors. Remember, recovery is possible. With the right support and commitment to change, individuals can overcome compulsive sexual behavior and live healthier, more fulfilling lives.